because we were dumping a car on their drive.
What the hell is that?
That was low.
Welcome back, guys. Today we are joined by Jim from Jim Builds. He is our special guest and we are going to be talking epic car stories, are we not?
We are indeed. I'm excited.
Give us a quick rundown, Jim, what we're going to be talking about.
Probably starting off with the time my dad bought a car for me off the radio.
I like it.
I accidentally broke into Spa-Francorchamps,
That's also quite cool.
and the same day I found out I got my degree, I did the Nürburgring.
Let's go and take a look. So go on then, Jim. Break it down. We've got all the internet that you possibly need. Give me your life story in cars.
I've always been interested in cars, particularly old stuff. I was never a fan of newer things or Ferraris and sports cars, always the classics. And
Character. The smell of it.
yeah,
A bit like your old. Oh, also,
she's done me well.
before we get too deep into this, Jim's done a full build series on his Ford Cortina GT. So head on over to his channel and check it out. You've had your plug, crack on.
Thank you very much. I started off being interested in cars but couldn't drive. I was 14, 15, so
It is frowned upon.
you can't quite get away with it, even where I'm from. So did a lot of BMXing, which gave me the mechanical skills.
Yeah, fair comment. I can't get my head around bikes.
So easy.
No,
I've smashed so many to pieces.
Voodoo, dark art, can't get my head around it, don't understand how it works.
Chain, pedal, just pedal and pedal and pedal, and then when you get to a ramp, pull up.
No, I pull out too much and fall off, and then I break myself.
Yeah, that's why I stopped.
I need four wheels, much more stable.
Yeah, stopped when I broke myself trying to backflip. Did it.
But it did a bit too well by the sounds of it.
The the problem was with any jump like this, when I used to do that thing, is that it's easier to fix the bike than it is myself. So if I was going to have a problem, throw the bike, regardless that I actually spent more on the bike than I did
Okay.
at the time.
Yeah.
We went to a place with a foam pit. It's like what gymnasts use.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of gymnastics when I was younger.
Oh, okay, cool. So you've got a ramp straight up to it. Ramp down, ramp up.
Mm-hmm.
And basically pedal, pull up, and try and backflip. And halfway through, I thought, no, I'm not getting this. Throw the bike. I'll land. I'll pick the bike up in a minute. It'll be fine. What I hadn't realised that I was actually upside down when I threw it, and all I'd done is push the bike further up.
Oh, so it's got further to fall onto you?
Yeah. So I land in the foam. I look up, and then all I see is this bike coming at me. Put my elbow up. Split my elbow, gave myself concussion,
mate.
carried on riding for about 5 or 6 hours
After the concussion?
with the concussion,
Fantastic.
and then drove home, and I realised that I can't keep doing this.
And the fact that you had concussion, which is why it affected your brain and you bought a Ford. Is that why? I don't like Fords.
If you didn't cut me, would I not bleed?
Got to get you somehow, haven't I?
But
So where did you go from there?
so I was 17, looking for a car as you do,
Of course.
and it had to be an old car.
Trade it?
Sorry?
Trade it? Or is that only a Southwest thing? Did you not get Trade It up there?
Oh God.
What?
No,
Trade It? That was only Bristol?
I've never heard of it.
Oh, man.
I feel like I've missed out. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
where all your cars have come from.
No,
actually,
no.
no.
I'm Trade It was when I was a lot younger. There was cars in the Trade It. And you used to buy the Trade It on a Friday night.
Oh, we
And then
had
you
something similar. I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. And you used to be the first one to go flick, 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 flick.
Yep.
Oh, quick, buy it, ring it up on the... And then you go, oh, no, they're on the internet. I'll have to try again later.
Oh gosh, now you're talking.
There you
No, so we were looking at various ads. I can't remember how. Looked at a few Beatles because I was a massive VW fan. Air cooled. I can tell you're a fan.
Oh, yeah, Fords, Vauxhalls, VWs.
I'm
So
not
you're
going to do
looking-
I'm not going to do very well out of this.
People at home might like it. You never know.
And
So you're looking at Beatles.
we looked at Beatles, and I just couldn't. I couldn't get on board.
Me too.
It was. They were so. I mean, we're talking about this. Very agricultural. Just couldn't quite find what I want. It wasn't the right model, and it wasn't the right. I just never liked the way they drove.
I've never.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, bit downhearted. Still looking. Still learning to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to ride my bike to school, and sixth form. And
Yeah.
remember one day coming home, November time, and went home. Mum was in, and you know when you walk in, and sometimes you know something's happened, because you can feel the tension.
You can cut it with a knife.
Yes, and I came home. Mum's a bit on edge, and I'm thinking, this is not good, because my dad's not even here. So
yeah, two plus two.
Yeah,
Five,
exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
I said, "What's up?" "Oh, it's your father." "Well, what about him?" He's bought a car. Like, what do you mean he's bought a car?
A high five.
I'm like, yeah, come on, like.
Let's have some positivity in the room.
He's bought you a car. I'm like, okay, great. Come on. So, what's he bought? I don't know. Where's he bought it from? The radio. What do you mean the radio? Like,
The radio.
the radio. He's bought it off the radio.
Off the wireless.
You're gonna have to explain a bit. Well, there was an auction on the radio, and they were selling a car, and he decided that he would buy it.
Fair play. What was it?
Don't know.
Well,
So-
even he didn't know.
No, he knew. Sorry, he knew what it was, but we had to wait till he'd finished work, and went and met him. And it was November. It was pitch black, and I walk up. Cars in the dark, and I could see chrome fins, and I was thinking, oh, great, he's bought me an Anglia, because I know you're a big Ford fan.
Is that a Ford?
It is a Ford. That's the Harry Potter one.
But luckily he didn't.
No, he didn't. He bought me a Triumph Herald,
Cool.
which I thought.
That's another Harry Potter car, isn't it?
No.
Ron Weasley? That was an Anglia.
Yeah, it's an Anglia.
Ah, no wonder he was unpopular. He had a Ford. Ain't gonna stop, Jim. Ain't gonna stop.
Oh,
So you bought your Triumph Herald?
bought me a Triumph Herald off the radio.
Free car, 17, living the dream.
Exactly.
That's a really cool car when you were
It
17.
was a really cool car, and I did like it, but bought off the radio. It had an
Yeah.
MOT. Turns out-
MOTs were lax enough as it was back in 2005.
5. Right, so we took it back to my grandparents' house. They weren't happy because we were dumping a car on their drive.
What the hell is that?
That was low.
That would have been caught on the camera for sure.
Holy shit, that was low.
That was low. I could touch it.
That's a Hercules. Hercules. So we oh yeah, so we get
We must be on a flight path. We had a Chinook the other day. Yeah. That was
nice.
louder than that. It was even lower. It took the top off the tree.
You get them near my mother-in-law's.
Bryce Norton, isn't it? We're digressing, Jim. Talk about
Yeah,
cars.
sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
Triumph Herald.
Yeah. So the Herald, we got it to my grandparents' house.
There's another one.
Is it?
I don't know. I think it's the sound waves from that one has just
Yeah.
gone over. Unbelievable. As you were.
We got it to my grandparents' house. They weren't happy, but they don't drive, so they got the drive.
That's your intro, by the way. Bang. What the hell was that?
And we started to work on it, tidying it up. It got bathroom carpet for carpet.
Nice.
And just tidy up a few bits. I mean, it ran quite well, actually, considering. And the lovely thing about the Heralds, which is great when you don't know anything about cars, is the bonnet lifts up. You can sit on the wheel and work on the engine. You are not inhibited by space at all.
Really?
Yep, from the factory, the whole front end lifts up, so straight up, and you can just literally
What,
sit.
with front wings and everything?
Yeah,
And you can sit on the wheels?
sit on the wheel and tweak the engine.
Incredible.
Brilliant.
Designed to be worked on.
Yeah,
There you
fantastic car. Brilliant turning circle. The only car that can used to be able to beat it on turning circle was the London Taxi. You can do
Really?
a full turn in half a tennis court.
Never.
Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
It's a really cool car and massively underrated. The unfortunate thing was I was 17. It had some very dubious repair work on it. So
Newspaper and filler.
no, even better.
Better.
It's a separate body and chassis.
Okay, like
And-
a TVR.
Yes,
Like-
and the Triumph Spitfire and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, yeah.
And the chassis outrigger used to be a fluorescent light tube holder. He said the first thing we did, they said it got an MOT, but we wanted to take it to a garage to be checked. He said I could actually wire this up and put a light in it.
Underglow.
I know, and
You
that
were
was
so
cool
ahead
at
of
the
the
time.
time.
I know.
You were ahead of the time. You should have done.
Trend setting.
Underglow. That would have been amazing.
And there was a Triumph specialist nearby who looked at the car and said, we can restore it, but it's going to be £6,000.
Back in the day, that was a lot of cash.
That was a lot of cash considering the car I think ran us about 700.
Wow.
And even then we could buy one that would have been done for probably half of that, like three grand or so.
Non-starter.
So we did some bits to it. We gave it a good go, but when it came to the welding, it didn't happen. We even bought a second one.
Oh dear, we're feeding the addiction at this stage, aren't we?
Yep. So found out a guy at school who was a bit of a prick. His dad had Triumphs, but he knew a guy who had a 1200 on his drive, and this thing was dove grey.
That sounds quite nice.
With-
Nice colour.
Gorgeous colour.
Same as a Mini. They did a Mini in a dove grey,
Yes.
didn't they?
Yeah.
With a
In
white
fact, it
roof.
would have been because they're both BL.
There you go. Yeah, lovely little
Um,
colour, to be fair. Period colour.
with red vinyl interior. Gorgeous bright red. Like your shoes. Great shoes, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And
They're
the,
my driving shoes.
the interior was immaculate. And we looked at this car and think, this is really good. And he only wanted 200 quid. And like, well, as we thought, mine being a 1250, it had the full length Webasto, but that thing was sealed shut.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and the great thing is you can just unbolt the roof. These cars are complete Lego. They're great.
Really?
So you can
I
take.
never knew
You've got the
this.
chassis. You've got the rear tub, and then you've got with the bulkhead. They bolt together
Yeah.
onto the chassis. The front end all lifts up.
Yeah.
So that's bolt on, and then the roof can be bolted on or off. So to convert one of those to convertible, weekends work. It's all bolt on bits.
James May.
Yes.
That's the car.
The
And
yacht.
he put the jobby out at the top of it.
Yeah, he turned it into a yacht.
And he just unbolted the roof.
Yeah.
Because he knew what you knew.
Hmm.
There you go.
So
Fine.
got a full hard top. So it was a non-sunroofed top.
Yeah, yeah.
So we thought, well, it's another engine. It's a few bits and pieces we can use. We take that to the MOT station. We get a very distressed phone call a couple of days later.
Oh dear.
How did you get it here? I know you drove it here, but where did you go? Like, we drove it down this road, like with all the speed bumps. Yeah, why? This chassis is like a net curtain. I have no idea how this car didn't fold in half whilst you're in it. It had full drum brake. I also remember it had full drum brakes, and your foot would hit the bulkhead before it started to slow.
That's worrying.
Yeah, so sold that, made a decent profit. Sold it for about 600-700 quid.
With no MOT.
With no, yeah, because it was right for parts, and the interior, with it being immaculate, was probably most of its value.
At least you're honest. Others wouldn't have been.
In fact, I remember he was reversing it onto his trailer, and I was saying, I think we need to put some blocks under it. The exhaust is getting a bit close. No, it'll be fine. It caught, and it pulled the exhaust mounts off the chassis. I'm like, dude, can't help you. I'm sorry. I tried to warn you. So parted ways with the Heralds, and I was gutted because it beat me.
It's never a good feeling, is it?
No.
No, that's not what you want. But at the same time, it's sometimes better to say enough's enough and just.
We accepted our
That's fair. That's
our
fair.
limitations at the time.
No, more than fair. More than fair.
In that time, I'd passed my test. I was using my mum's Clio.
Fair enough.
Needed something cool. It was.
So what did you get?
I was looking for an MGB.
Do you know, I've looked at MGBs recently.
I like them.
Tax and MOT exempt, but
Yep.
they're just too much money now. £5 for a good one?
Have you driven one?
No.
Not bad.
B
but-
series engine, is it?
Yeah.
B series. What's that? Like an 1800
Yep.
version of the A
About-
series.
About 100. Yeah,
Same
about
sort of
100
thing.
horsepower. Not bad. Decent torque.
Tunable. I would have thought.
Yep. Problem.
I think they're cool.
They are.
I
Cool.
think they look alright.
Oh, they are cool. I think they're great cars. You can do plenty to them. The problem I find is it feels like you're driving a sleeping bag. You've got quite a wide car, but the tunnel is incredibly wide.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point they put a V8 in it without even changing that,
Yes, they did. Yeah.
and you just feel like your legs are in a sleeping bag, and I just couldn't get on board with it.
Really.
Looked at-
Pedals extremely close together, like a 206 GTI. No,
Yep.
106 GTI. Sorry. Tiny little wibbly wobbly pedals.
And it's a shame because I do like them. Couldn't find one that was right. There was either we looked at one where every exterior panel needed replacing. The boot had sealed itself shut, and he refused to budge on £2,500. I'm like, this is. So I walked away from that. There was a guy who was trying to sell one, and he's like, it keeps snapping spokes on the wheels. Like, so
I've
that
never known spokes to snap before.
you really have to press on it.
Oh, he was driving it that hard that he was braking so hard he was buckling spokes.
Yeah,
Or
or
he wasn't obviously accelerating so hard he was braking spokes. He was braking.
or he's
so-
driving over stuff.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Wow, that's just abuse, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was like,
Mechanical sympathy there.
again, walked away from it. So, me and my mate Sean, who's my best man, he and I were on eBay looking for just have a look. Started off looking at MGB GTs, and
Yeah.
this popped up. With it being a GT, it wasn't too far away, and he was into his Fords. He had a Capri at the time.
Heard of them.
Sure, you're well aware of them.
They made a GT40. I like that one. Have you had one of those?
No.
Oh, me neither.
It's a bit out of my price range, unfortunately.
Yeah, me too. Too many zeros at the end for me.
Yeah,
I kind of like a Capri now. Look, I'll admit it, guys. All right. I look at a Capri now, and I think that looks quite nice. And I don't know why I like it. And you know when you look at something and you feel wrong for liking it, because I've spent years
don't
not
be
liking.
guilty about it. It's,
I'm coming to terms with it slowly. But I looked at a Cortina. What's it called?
Capri.
A Capri. Yeah, that's the one. And I looked at it and I thought that looks quite nice.
they've got that hint of muscle about them, like American muscle, but
Yeah, like
European.
Mustang-esque.
Mm.
Yes.
And they're quite a fun car. I've driven a few.
Too expensive. If it was $1,000, I'd take a chance on one.
It's
But they're
amazing.
not $1,000 anymore.
It's amazing. We used to play around with them when they were like $1,000 would get you a fairly decent one.
I'd take a punt on one at $1,000, but I
Mm.
wouldn't spend the money they are now.
No,
Which is the issue.
which is a shame.
Because I'd always take a punt on something at $1,000. I don't care how good, bad, ropey, indifferent it is. At $1,000, it's $1,000, it's $1,000. And you have a play around with it, and you either love it or you hate it.
Exactly that.
But $5,000, you don't have a play around. You don't take a punt at $5,000. It's too much money. I ain't got
No.
that sort of money.
No, exactly.
No way. So go on.
You've got to be committed.
Yeah, 100%, you
So
don't actually like it.
this turned up, and we said, well, it's not too far away.
That was this one here.
This one.
The one that you arrived in today, and you drove nearly 4 hours to get here.
I
in,
know.
Which is very, very impressive.
And we went over because it was only in Newark, which was about 20, 30 minutes away.
Cool.
We get there, and there's 4 others. Thinking this guy, he's
What?
got these.
Oh, 4 of those?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
how
ha-
did they make?
A million.
Oh,
In
so
total?
they made a few.
It was the first UK Ford to reach 1 million units.
So they actually did make 1 million. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
made 1 million of these. 1 million minis, wasn't it? Which when you put it into, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
I mean, I thought there was a lot of Cosmos, 8,000. I mean, I couldn't fit 8,000 in this car. But 1 million? That's
It's
insane.
but then
But I suppose they went
that's
all over
like
the world,
that's like
not
small
just,
that's
not
small,
just Bristol.
small numbers now for manufacturers, which is
Oh.
incredible.
Big numbers, man. But go on, you have 4 of them.
Yeah, he had one which had done 6,000 miles from new.
That's cool.
That was lovely, but you can't use it.
Too nice to use. Every time you
Its
use
whole-
it, it devalues it.
Its whole point is that it's low mileage.
Not for me.
No, and
Boring.
it was a shame. But we arrived there before he did.
Yeah.
To his house. His son just basically like, yeah, it'll be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he turned up in this, and as soon as I saw it, it's like, I'm having that.
Really?
Loved it.
Fair play
We
to you.
went out. I didn't drive it. He drove.
Yep.
And talked me through it, and I was like, I'm having this car. This is happening. It was on eBay. It ended that night. I rang my dad and said, I found a car.
You were 19 at the time.
I was 19 at the time. And I found this car. It's Cortina GT Mark 1. Can we get insured on it? Yeah, it'll be fine. Was all the other sort of dad questions. It ends tonight. He wants 2.5. He'll pull it off eBay tonight, right now, if we can promise 2.5. It's just like, it was 5 o'clock. Like, the banks are shut. We can't do anything. This is before we could do online banking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Said, I'm sorry, but we'll just have to chance it. I'm like, okay.
Roll the dice. No worries. Yeah.
Can't
Fate,
say any more
innit?
than that. That's fair enough. So we go home, and he has a look on eBay. So that's quite nice. I used to have one back in the day. I know he had a Lotus.
Oh.
I know.
Big money.
Which was annoying because we sold the steering wheel from the Lotus to fund some work for the Herald, thinking they were going to do that.
Mark
then
1 or Mark 2? Did they do 2?
He had a Mark 1. He had an early Mark 1.
I think I preferred the Mark 1 from memory for what
Yeah.
they look like.
Which was the special equipment. So we got the aluminium bonnet, boot lid, and doors.
Ooh.
This was back in the early 70s when they were less than a bit less desirable, and he used to rally it.
Really? Now that is cool.
And then I found out not long after I'd got mine that he parked it in a lamppost.
Who did?
My dad, the
Oops.
Lotus.
Oh. Ooh. Why did he do that?
I think he ran out of talent by the sounds of it.
You got to push your limits, and you don't know where your limits are until you find them. And obviously, he pushed and he found them.
The lamppost definitely helps with that.
Got time for that. Respect.
So he kept the steering wheel, and unfortunately we sold it. Sold the steering wheel. This was 2005.
Yeah.
£800.
As much as the house was back in
I
2005.
I paid £2,000 for this in 2006, which is fairly decent for what it was.
Yeah.
Decent money, but yeah, £800 for the steering wheel.
The world has changed. Different.
Just
world.
because it's slightly smaller than what's in that, but wood rimmed.
Yeah.
Gorgeous wheel.
That's quite a nice wheel in there, to be fair.
I love it.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
So that was it, and like I say, we were on eBay, and it was ending, and we're on £2,000, and I said, I'm just going to put 2-1 on. I just want to put another 100 on. I just want to be sure.
Yep.
Did it. We were just constantly refreshing. Come on,
That was
just
when
want
eBay Sniper was a thing back in the day.
Oh
wasn't it?
yeah, and I was on edge. I was, sweating bullets as this thing does, and it popped up. You've won £2,100.
Fantastic.
The guy I was bidding against knew the guy who was selling the car in Ireland, and apparently just before the last couple of minutes his internet went down, he offered him the 2.5 straight away, and he said, I can't, I've sold it by auction, I've got to stick with it. And I refused. I was offered £400 more straight away without even...
Yeah. No.
So
If you want it, you want it, don't you?
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly. So, that was when I had the Cortina.
And you've kept it ever since.
Yeah, through thick and thin.
Fantastic.
And it was my daily driver for, bought it in 2006. No, 2005. Got my dates wrong. Bought it in 2005.
Yeah.
And then it came off the road in 2006. When it went into Cadillac arrest.
Cadillac arrest.
Yeah. The old engine gave out, unfortunately.
Is what it is. Still going now.
There
You're putting a load of miles on it, so fantastic.
So the problem with the Cortina GT is that they don't have an oil pressure warning light. You've got the oil pressure gauge, which tells you how much pressure you have, and it's up to you whether you turn it off in time or not. Now,
Fair enough.
for some reason, I parked up over winter, 2005. Oil pressure gauge worked. when I came back to it, turned it on, engine ran, everything was fine, checked the engine over,
Fair enough.
oil pressure gauge didn't work. And it's an electrical, it's not the capillary tube, so it's all done by resistance.
1960s electronics.
Now
Ford electronics.
yeah, so not even
Beautiful.
top quality at this point. So we chalked it up to, well, it's running okay, we'll try and keep an eye out for another sender unit, and left it at that.
So it's full send at this stage then.
Oh, it's just it's driving it fine.
Full
It
send.
worked
Nice.
fine. Thought, great, carry on. About 6 months later, driving down a country road, all of a sudden, oil pressure gauge dies. Sorry, oil pressure gauge came back on
Yeah.
for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Driving down a country road, oil pressure gauge died again. I thought, well, it's probably just it's having a moment. Something must have triggered it.
Yeah.
And carry on. Everything seems all right. And there was, what was that?
We just stopped making progress.
And the it got very clattery very quickly, and it was seized solid. This thing completely gone. I actually stopped halfway up a hill and thought, let it cool for a bit, try and bump it.
Oh.
It just locked the axle up straight away.
Wow.
It was that solid.
Nice touch. So that was the end of that then.
That was the
for
end
a
of
bit,
that.
Anyway, for a bit.
It was about a 2 or 3 weeks before I was going to uni. I wasn't really planning on taking it with me, but I also wasn't planning on selling it. So, fortunately, my parents had got a garage, and that's where it stayed for many years.
Until its revival.
Yeah.